Welcome to the Drunk Astrology Podcast, your cosmic cheat code to building a life you're obsessed with. I'm your host, Graham Breitenstein. I'm a professional astrologer, certified oracle card reader, and the creator of Drunk Astrology. And I'm also a former professional dancer for artists like Lady Gaga, Meghan Trainor, Idina Menzel, Charlie Puth, turned astrologer for names like Lizzo, celebrity trainer Shaun T, and longevity expert Elise Joan. These days, I help everyone from seven-figure business owners to stay-at-home moms actually apply astrology as a strategic tool so they can stop scrambling and start making an impact in their everyday lives. Because here's the truth. The real power of astrology isn't in predicting your future. The real power is giving you the context for the season of life you're in right now and the opportunities available to you inside of it. So if you're ready to manifest big, make your next move with intention, and finally work with the universe instead of against it, you're in the right place. Let's lock the F in. Well, hello, Astro lover, and let me tell you right here at the top of this here podcast, we are here busting cosmic myths. This here episode. This is all about making Mercury Retrograde your bitch every single time, because you know at least 3 times a year we're going to have a Mercury Retrograde. So this here episode, you better file it away somewhere you can always find it at least 3 times a year, because I'm going to give you the tools to understand how to use this persnickety ass transit and work it in your favor. All right, because Mercury and his little bitch-ass retrogrades are a number of things that the internet does get right. The internet does get it right that communication snafus happen. Schedules, appointments, construction on your way to work that you always take, backing up your technology. Anything with a battery, can go wonky. It is all true. But my dear friend, my dear listener, my dear astro lover, that is just the surface level of Mercury retrograde. And I don't have to tell you this, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway, that astrology serves a much deeper purpose than just saying, hey, make sure you back up your devices. Make sure you double check everything. This is true, right? This is practical advice that is, yes, indeed true. But I'm here to tell you that Mercury retrograde serves a much bigger purpose in life, in business, and relationships, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So the first thing that I just want to say is Mercury as a planet, his role in astrology is to connect you, is to encourage you to use your voice, to exchange information with others, to brainstorm, to think at beyond an intellectual level. Especially if Mercury in your chart lives in a water sign, it's not all about intellect. It's about the integration of your intuition, about trusting your feelings and using your feelings as intellectual data, as fact, right? Or if it's in a fire sign in your birth chart, then understanding how your words inspire action, how your own thoughts can be transmuted into passionate action. And if it's in an air sign, well, then there you go. That's where Mercury is like pure brilliance zone, pure genius, thoughts, innovative ideas. But there is a reliance on getting them out of your head, right? Mercury's shadow in all of us, no matter what element he's in, is an overthinker. He's an over criticizer. He's over analyzing everything. And if you've got Mercury in an earth sign, well, then how you can take your thoughts, your ideas, your dreams, your manifestations, and turn them into systems, routines, and habits so that you form healthy habits, creating things practically, right? So Mercury has this role of what we do with our ideas. And it's depending on the sign he's in your natal birth chart, and also depending on house placement, he has this role of how you think about yourself, how you think about your ideas, how you do or do not feel like what you have to offer is valuable, is worthy. And beyond that, as Mercury makes his transits throughout every single year, every month, every week, every day, and makes new connections to the other planets, he is asking you to do very specific things. But when he gets to retrograde, he goes, now wait just one jolly ass minute. We need to take some more time to reflect on this. We need to think before we leap. And we look to the sign, or potentially signs, that Mercury retrograde will be taking place in to get the cues on where indeed we need to take more time, where we need to slow our roll and consider more information. So before you go rolling your eyes anytime you see the astrology side of TikTok and Instagram go up in arms about, oh no, Mercury retrograde's coming, block all your exes, I want you to know, and I want you to embody this as soon as you're hearing it, that you're being asked to gather more information before you press go, before you jump or leap into something that needs more consideration. And depending on where Mercury retrograde at any given time is happening in your chart, that's even going to give you a deeper understanding of like, wait a minute, based on my current circumstances and what I'm experiencing in my life and my business and my relationships, I need to look at this area of my life, these areas of my life based on wherever transiting Mercury is going to retrograde in your chart, and I need to take more time to think before I go any further. All right? So that's first and foremost. Now, the second thing that I really need you to know is that Mercury retrograde is not a one-and-done transit. It's not just like a few weeks go by and like, boop, okay, retrograde's over. No, sirree. No, madam. Mercury retrograde is a 3-part story. It unfolds in 3 parts. Now, in astro lingo, there is the first chapter is the pre-retrograde shadow. The second chapter is the retrograde itself, the 3.5-4 weeks that retrograde actually takes place. And then there is chapter 3, and in astro lingo, this is the post-retrograde shadow. Now, over here at Drunk Astrology, we have named each chapter so that you can understand deeper what is happening as you actually live your life in each one of these chapters. And my goal as your astrologer, as your coach, as your guide, is to empower you with each of these chapters. Okay? So let's just go chapter by chapter. Chapter 1, the pre-retrograde shadow. This is what I call the preview of the movie. You're getting hints and clues and tiny little details about what is coming up for your retrograde experience. Okay, so this is where you're going to want to start paying attention to your thoughts, who you're thinking about. Maybe already who is showing up from your past, whether in real life, like the phone rings, you get the text message, you get an email, you get a DM, or in a dream. Who are you suddenly starting to think about? What ideas are you getting during this pre-retrograde shadow? And all you need to do in chapter 1 is be very curious and also jot down, notate, whether it's in the Notes app in your phone, whether you're a journal girly. I've got my Manifest Big in 2020. Well, it doesn't matter what year, but I've got my Manifest Big journal. I've got my Daily Dose of Stars planner. So I notate, I literally write things down in my planner every single day because I track all of this information on any given day. So it's basically in chapter 1, data collection, all right? And you're just going, oh, interesting. So-and-so that I haven't heard from in 6 years just popped up. Oh, that idea that I had like 3 months ago, like it's coming back now. Interesting. You don't have to do anything. You literally don't need to do anything unless you are so inspired to do so. But in chapter 1, remember, we're already in the retrograde experience, but it actually hasn't entered the phase of retrograde. Chapter 1 is just the preview, like, okay, the universe is going, all right, now, I want you to see this. I want you to note this. I want you to be aware of this person, this thought, this idea, this dream, this relationship. I just want it to be on your radar. And then chapter 2 hits. Now, chapter 2 is when Mercury actually stations retrograde. And when he stops in the sky, now, first of all, this is where, like, the 2 days before he stations and the 2 days after he stations, that's when some of his most, not so eloquent work could be done with all of the communication snafus, travel delays, construction, your phone gets wonky, your internet goes out. I can't tell you how many times the day Mercury stations retrograde, how many times I've woken up to emails from my internet provider going, "Oh no, there's an outage in your entire area. So sorry." Like, okay, cool. Well, I guess I'll just, sit here and twiddle my thumbs. So just be mindful, be aware that the 2 days before Mercury stations and the 2 days after, that kind of like 5-day period is more often than not when you will experience quite a bit of that surface level buffoonery. So those are the days you want to be extra mindful of travel. You get to the airport like hours early to just be ready for anything. And if you get off without a hitch, cheers to you. Sometimes, I've traveled a lot in my life, and there were times where I did semi-escape travel buffoonery. But I did I got to the airport super early, way before my flight was ever going to take off. And I enjoyed a few Bloody Marys at the bar, as one does. So during chapter 2, we're bringing it back. While Mercury is actually in his retrograde, this is when you most simply F around and find out. Your goal, your mission during Mercury retrograde is to try anything and everything, and the most important part, without judgment, without criticism. If you keep in chapter 1 thinking about your ex, if you keep thinking about this job, this toxic opportunity, this, this toxic experience, not really an opportunity, but hey, some opportunities are toxic AF. So, let's not limit ourselves. If you can't stop thinking about a person, an opportunity, a relationship, a memory, an experience, and you find yourself pining to open the gates of communication, and you want to just experience that for yourself during retrograde, let your freak flag fly. Make the decision. Send the text, make the phone call. And without any self-criticism, without any judgment, simply F around and find out. Experiment to your heart's content. Variety is the spice of life. There's no one way to solve a problem. There's no one way to create a solution. There's no one way that's right or wrong to start a conversation and see where it goes, to, start an idea and see how far it can go, see how far you want to take it. But the idea is that you don't get married to one particular thing. You explore your options with an open mind, with no criticism, with no judgment. And if you need to tell your friends and family, like, look, I might be making the dumbest decision of my life right now, but I need you to support it because I'm effing around and I'm finding out. And in a few weeks' time, I'll know whether it was right or wrong, or whether I want to continue this or not. And that, my dear astro lover, is exactly what Chapter 3 of Mercury Retrograde is all about. Chapter 3 is what I call time to integrate with clarity. Now that Mercury has stationed to move forward again, now all the pieces of the puzzle that weren't fully fleshed out, all of the experimenting, all of the effing around that you did during retrograde, playing around with the information in chapters 1 and 2, in chapter 3, the clouds start to dissipate. It starts to become very clear whether or not the decisions and the experimenting and how you approach things just with pure curiosity during retrograde, this is when it starts to come together. This is where you gotta get more realistic and you gotta go like, am I really into this? You look back on chapters 1 and 2 and go, with all of this information now, what makes the most sense? What feels most aligned with my highest self? What's aligned with my goals, my dreams, my hopes, my manifestations? What makes the most sense? Does any of it make sense? Again, everything you do in chapter 2 is no criticism, no judgment. You just try and try and try. Explore with curiosity. Let variety be what variety is and how it relates to you in your certain set of circumstances. And then in chapter 3, the post-retrograde shadow, for this couple of weeks' time, you just simply go, well, I'm glad I did ABC 1, 2, 3, but now that I have my wits about me a little bit more, I need to just say, like, none of that's going to work. Or I can see now that C of A, B, C, and 1, 2, 3, C is the only part that I want to stick to. That's the only part that I want to commit to. That's the only little nugget of wisdom that I want to carry with me beyond this whole retrograde 3-part story. All right? So in essence, to make Mercury retrograde your bitch every single time, you gotta know the chapters, right? And in the Drunk Astrology world, I'm always gonna give you chapters, especially if you join my Daily Dose of Stars community. I'm on Telegram every single day talking about the astrology of the day and how you can apply it to your life, to your business decisions, and to your relationships. The planets are moving every single day. And so the daily doses is where I can give you daily guidance based on what's happening on any given day. So when you know the chapters, pre-retrograde shadow, retrograde itself, post-retrograde shadow. Making Mercury retrograde your bitch is purely dependent on you integrating and embodying these messages for each chapter. Chapter 1, preview of the movie. Gather all the data. What are you thinking about? Who are you thinking about? Who shows up from your past? What dreams are you having? Who's there? What ideas are kind of percolating? You just gather information and get really curious about like how this will be relevant over the next span of several weeks. Then chapter 2, Mercury stations retrograde, and all you got to do is experiment with curiosity. F around and completely find out with no criticism, no judgment. You just go all in on everything. Not being married to one thing, one outcome, one solution. You just simply go, all right, okay, this old issue with my partner is coming back up. Like, well, we've tried to address this before. It clearly didn't work. So now let's try another way of problem solving, of addressing this issue. And then chapter 3, after you've done all the effing around, after you've done all the experimentation, you simply allow the clouds to dissipate. You start looking back at chapters 1 and 2 and deciding with a clearer head, from a more grounded state of mind and state of being, and go like, now what do I want to carry forward from these 2 chapters of my life? How do I want to integrate this information? Do I need this information? Do I need these experiences? Do I need to commit to any of this? And if so, then you pluck what you want to take with you and take it on forward beyond the retrograde chapters. And if you don't see anything there, like, okay, then don't judge yourself. Don't judge yourself whatsoever. Okay? So that, my dear friend, that, my dear astro lover, is how you make Mercury retrograde your bitch and move beyond the surface level, oh no, I can't do anything new. Oh no, I'm going to block all the people I don't want to talk to. Like, that ain't it. And let me tell you something for those of you that are business baddies out there. I have made some of the most, I've had some of the most successful things in business launching them during Mercury retrograde. And I want you to know that there's a very specific way to use astrology when it comes to business, when it comes to your career, when it comes to making sales, when it comes to marketing. There are very specific things to note when you're going to move intentionally during a retrograde. I do not want you sitting on your hands feeling like, oh, I have to wait until I do anything. There's so many nuanced, magical ways that you can work with Mercury retrograde when you're in business. So don't let that stop you. And what you really need to know is that it comes down to your specific chart and where Mercury retrograde is touching down in your chart, what else is being activated in your chart. And sometimes, because there are plenty of charts that exist in this world, Mercury retrograde is actually your sweet spot for launching new offers, making new sales, setting up your offers, your programs, your masterminds in a way that sells out completely. I have helped a number of my coaching clients, my birth chart reading clients, figure out this exact thing. So if anything, just know astrology is here as a tool to empower you, to empower your decisions. And Mercury retrograde is simply one of those transits where the universe is going, wait just a minute, hold on. Let's take a little bit more time before we just say, press go. Now with that, that's this episode. let me know. You can send me a text. I want to hear your thoughts about Mercury retrograde, what you think about it. Do you have any questions about Mercury retrograde? Just send me a text follow the link in the show notes. Send me that text, and maybe on the next episode, I'll just be answering your question. Until next time, see you later. If this episode hit for you, don't keep it to yourself. Send it to a friend, drop it in the group chat, or share it to your Instagram stories and tag me so I can hype you up. And if you're ready to tap into what's going on for you right now, I got you. There is a free oracle card reading waiting for you in the show notes. It'll give you insight into the energy and opportunity around you right now, help you navigate any challenges, and clarify your next best move so you can start making decisions with confidence today. And if you're sitting there thinking, I don't want to just listen, I want to actually apply astrology to my life. Well, that's exactly what I help my clients do in the Daily Dose of Stars Energy Report, birth chart readings, my Moon Phase Manifestor program, and my one-on-one coaching containers. All the details are linked in the show notes below. And if you've got a question that you want me to answer here on the podcast, just tap that text me link in the show notes and send it my way. I might just answer it in a future episode. Wink, wink. Until next time, trust yourself and manifest big.